We've all heard the phrase, communication is key. Yeah, it may be overused, but that doesn't make it any less true. But there are some really important things to keep in mind when you're working to up-level your communication with applicants and workers alike. Today's hiring hack brings you 3 things to avoid when communicating with the hourly workforce. The number 1 thing to avoid, emojis. Nah, I'm just kidding. Those are pretty much fine, just don't go overboard. All right, the real first thing to avoid, outdated methods. It's kind of wild, but there are a lot of people today that see email as almost like the Pony Express. Messaging is probably the primary way that most of us choose to communicate as we make our way through the day, and that goes double for the hourly workforce that skews a lot younger. Whether you're attempting to schedule an interview or fill in a gap in next week's schedule, messaging is the best way to actually get a response. In order to keep things professional, however, it's a really good idea to maintain some separation between your home messaging and your work messaging. The easiest way to do this is through the use of dedicated messaging apps that are only used for your work messages. The second thing to avoid, just sitting back and waiting for the communication to come to you. It's up to you to create opportunities for increased communication across your team. This means regularly soliciting feedback and comments about how everyone's doing, are there any questions that they have, or if there's anywhere that you can maybe help them out. Asking for feedback is also important to include in the hiring process, so you can fine-tune your applicant experience in real time. And make sure that you ask for feedback among those who didn't get hired as well, because their comments are just as valid. Beyond asking for qualitative feedback, it's also a good idea to solicit quantitative feedback in the form of surveys. This is a really good task to automate, so you can make sure that you're sending out surveys regularly. All right, and the third thing to avoid when communicating with the hourly workforce, treating everybody the same. Everything that I've touched on today is a good starting point, but just like pizza toppings, we all have different tastes. Pizza. As you get to know your team, ask them about their communication preferences. Maybe someone on your team would actually rather prefer a phone call to a message when discussing something timely. Or maybe someone else is all in on the metaverse. Okay, probably not. The principle is this: try to identify and accommodate different communication preferences, both in the interview process and after hiring somebody. And that's it for today's hiring hack. Did this topic really speak to you? Let us know in the comments. See ya.